If you have any image upload functionality as part of your application and you don't have any content moderation, you are vulnerable to having people upload images that are explicit or are racist and are not the images you want to be able to store on your own systems, whether it's in S3 or some other storage. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can add content moderation using Amazon Recognition in just 20 lines of code. So this is an application that I've been working on that allows users to create a waitlist and gather email addresses. As part of that, in some of the templates, you can actually upload an image. So let's have a look at how that works. So in here, if we go into create a waitlist, and then we choose to create a waitlist for a product image template. And in here, I'm just going to put some random text just so that this works. But then in here, in the product image, we want to be able to have our image selector, pick an image and upload it. Now the issue is people could upload images that we don't want them to. It could be pornography, it could be explicit things, or it could be content around racism or the KKK or anything like that. And that is something we do not want this site to be able to basically store that image. So what do? In our code, we are going to use recognition to basically detect any moderated content. And then if there is moderated content, we're going to basically fail the image upload. So what does that look like in our code? So in here, we have our Next.js application and our image upload. And what we want to do is look at the existing code. And what we've done is we've added a run moderation function. Now, if this fails, it will throw an error and the upload will fail. So what does this run moderation function look like? Well, if we scroll down, we get to here. And what we do is we have our command, and our command is the detect moderation labels command, which comes from recognition. All we need to do is upload our image, and we can upload the bytes of our image coming from the image upload. Now you can also pass in an S3 bucket with an S3 URL, but that means that the image is already stored on our S3 bucket, and that means it is already being shared via our CloudFront distribution. And we would have to then, if we detect the image being containing explicit content, we'd then have to delete it. So with this, we are checking it before we upload it to S3. So with that being passed in, we then need to call recognition, sending our command, and then we get our labels from response.moderation labels. I've just console logged it out here so we can see it in our console. And then we also go through, and here I'm going to say that we're going to reject the image if any of the labels contain the moderation categories that I have selected as either the name or the parent name. So if they contain explicit nudity, explicit sexual activity, or any sort of hate symbols, they'll be flagged and rejected the image, and that will throw an error. If it's not, if it's a normal image, then it will just return, and then it will carry on with the rest of the logic, and that logic will then upload it to S3 so that it is accessible. So back in here, if we upload just a normal image, and let's go with just this one, I think this is a random screenshot, and we create this. When we see that it's created the waitlist successfully, if we visit this, then what we'll see is just the image, just like that. And if we go back into our code, and because this is running locally, we can actually see the logs. And in here, you can see that if we look in here, this is the create. And if we scroll up a little bit further, we can see that the moderation response labels, which comes from our console log, is empty. And then we uploaded the file to S3. Now, if we go back into here and we edit our template, This time we're going to choose something that has some level of nudity, but not explicit nudity. So I'm going to choose this and upload this. And what will happen is we'll see that the waitlist was successfully updated. If we go back into our logs, we can see that this has been updated. And if we scroll up, we can see that moderation response labels equals non-explicit nudity and implied nudity. So those here, as we can see, there are 3 different levels. And if you want to, you can look into recognition and find those 3 different levels. But obviously, none of those are explicit nudity, so therefore we've said that is okay. Now, if we go back into here, edit it one more time, and if we click on our file and then choose something, now this is a pornographic image that I've had to download just to test this. And if we now update this, it'll say there was an error uploading the image. If we go back into our console and scroll down, we can see that there was an error thrown inside our API. Image contains explicit content. And if we scroll up, we can see here that we actually have quite a few different labels. We have explicit, we have exposed female nipples, exposed explicit nudity, exposed female genitalia, exposed male genitalia, and explicit sexual activity. Because some of those are included in our categories that we want to moderate for, because we've seen those in there, that means that now that image is not being able to be uploaded. And as a user, all you see is that the image failed to upload. Behind the scenes, it's failing because they've tried to upload something explicit and against our terms and conditions. But we don't want to explicitly say that to them because they'll try and find a way around that. So now that is done, we are able to basically ensure that every image that is served on our Builder waitlist website is going to be non-pornographic and also non-hate speech, as having a waitlist for something like a Nazi rally is not the kind of thing I want to be associated with. If you found this video useful, make sure to like it, and the code that you can use in this video is linked in the comments below.